Hits by the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Coast, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to 237 Podcast. I am your host, Fred Savina, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we are going to talk about the YouTube wars. Right? And you know what? Let's get one thing clear. Like, those of us that remember the East Coast, West Coast, war that didn't really seem to exist. It was between two recording camps, you know, back in the day, and it turned into a big old fiasco and a big old thing that should have never have really happened to be, you know, should have never happened. But though the media, the magazines, and the media and everything pushed that narrative, and unfortunately, we lost two of the greatest artists of all time, in my opinion. I could not pick between the two, between Tupac Shakur or Christopher Wallace, also known as Notorious B.I.G. Those were two great artists, and unfortunately, we've lost plenty more from that time. Well, I mean, throughout, you know, up until the current time. But we cannot. What started off as a dissing or a beef or whatever that could be reconciled, perhaps in the, you know, in the world of music or whatnot, and that could have been reconciled. It could have been, you know, they could have talked it over. It was not, unfortunately, we lost two great artists, the two great artists of all time, if you ask my opinion. But what I'm getting at, guys, is I'm not gonna call out any channels on here. But I am gonna say that I've been watching a lot of negativity on YouTube. Let's just bring it out on YouTube. With a bunch of different channels. Some channels, I was even surprised. I was like, wait a minute, what the heck's going on? A lot of the reaction videos are being negative, you know, towards some other podcasts. They are nitpicking and taking a clip of something and making it out to be more than what it really is without taking the whole narrative of the story, right? So with that, guys, it ends up being a bigger issue. The unfortunate part about it, there are podcasts where they take in calls, and you know, for a minute there, I mean, what a great thing it is, right? What a great thing it is to allow the fans to interact with those people, with those artists, with those interviews, with so on and so forth, right? But it's unfortunate when you can do that, but then other people use it to go in and again throw a stick through their spokes. You know, use it as a dumping ground, use it as a way to call in and talk trash. You know, it's like, to me, these podcasts are like the modern day dedication lines or whatnot. Back in the day when you heard the radio, you'd call in and give a dedication to somebody, you know. That's what these podcasts have become. But now the people are tarnishing it, you know, with negativity. it started off as like, again, like the rap music, right? The rap music, hip hop is peace, unity, love, and having fun, right? The elements of hip hop, right? Everything is positivity. In the 80s when hip hop came into play, those of you who remember perhaps breaking and Beat Street and all this other stuff, a lot of violence had stopped. It was about people, instead of fighting each other, whatever, they'd have a dance off. People built crews. It was no longer a gang. It was a crew, a breaking crew or a popping crew, whatever. They had a popper, the best backspinner, the best windmill guy, the best guy who could spin the fastest on his head, on his hands, or whatever the situation is. The guy that had the best power moves, so on and so forth, right? And you know what? I will say this. Shout out to the Rock City crew and shout out to the New York City Breakers. Those are the biggest elements, the biggest inspirations, at least in my opinion, that we saw, even out here in California, that when all that came into play. You know, when I first saw New York City Breakers, I believe it was on Soul Train, I was watching, I was like, and I seen them, you know, doing side swipes and all this other stuff and spinning and doing, you know, all these moves and stuff. I was like, is there strings on there? Like, what are you doing? You know, but anyhow, guys, going back to all that, let's just shout out to those two crews. Unfortunately, again, going back to what we're stating, thanks to the social media, I was able to contact and communicate and message some of the New York City Breakers. I won't mention who, but I'm not going to expose them like that. But and we were able to conversate back and forth a little bit, and I was able to show them love and respect as they showed me love and respect. And to me, that's a big thing. To somebody else, it could mean nothing. To me, it means the world. You know, I'll say it like that. So anyhow, with that, why would I or anybody use that outlet that's given to you to be able to talk to somebody that perhaps you admired and you looked up to or you grew up with watching? Why would you use that as a thing to go in and be negative about something? You know, we're easy to say, hey, you know what, check it out, man. You know, if there's a fight, just walk away, man. Be a bigger man and walk away. Okay, so why are we not doing that on social media? Why are we not doing that on these podcasts? Why do we feel that we gotta, you know, undercut and diss somebody and take their clip and then just, you know, ridicule them and then get people? Not only are now the podcasting and the reaction videos and stuff, but now you got the fans going at it. Now you got the fans telling each other stuff, and it's become, again, like the East Coast, West Coast war. You know? And my thing is, and I'm speaking for myself here, guys, I don't want it to end up where somebody or a few people end up getting, you know, killed for something that's, you know, just not worth it, guys. Let people be. If you don't, look, man, back in the day, if you turn on the TV and you don't like what's showing, what do? You change the channel. So what is so hard about changing, just getting out of there, dude? Getting out of that thing. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Right? That's just my opinion, and I hope that I'm reaching out to somebody here and making sense of it. The best thing to do, man, move forward. You know what? I myself, and I will tell you guys this, as I said it before on this channel, I myself had a lot of people against me just for the simple fact of doing music out here in the small town and so on and so forth, right? But you know what the difference was? I kept moving forward. You know, and when they eventually got older and matured, which I thought, and they asked, hey man, like, hey, you know what, bro, I'll be at the side, man, can you help me out? I did do that. Some of it, did it work out? No, it didn't. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I can never say I never tried. Right? things are what they are. You move forward, right? You move forward and things are what they are. But this whole thing about, you know, people using these podcasters and they're calling into their live shows and saying, oh, you know what? Hey man, like what you just stated is not true, and yada 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 yada, and trying to make this person, you know, diminish the character of the host, or or of the partner, sidekick, whatever you want to call it, right? Why would he do that? What happened to being a person with, and I'm going to say it because I don't want to say man or woman or whatever, right? Let's just say a person with guts. Hey man, check it out. Send a message throughout social media or call in and say, hey, look, shoot me your phone number. We got to talk. That's it. Clearly, there's a misunderstanding. And as I've said before in this channel, recently in some of the podcast, some of the videos that I've stated too, again, I've had people where we get into it and the person goes, either whether it's in person or over the phone, and they're not listening. They're just yelling, and then turn around and go tell people, I told them off. That's not telling somebody off. Telling somebody off is when you actually shut up, you listen, and you let the person talk to defend themselves. And from that point, you make a decision. You know, you don't just hang up and, hey, I told him, right? No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And I'm proud to say I still remain undefeated. Anyhow, that's not how it works, man. You know, and 9 times out of 10, if you don't listen, you're not going to hear nothing. And you got to have an open mind about it, because if you're emotional about something, you're just going to continue to do that. And you're really hurting yourself. Because maybe you feel you have a valid point. But in reality, you know, you're not projecting it right. You're not saying it right because your emotions have got the best of you. You know, there's a saying in Spanish, que haya un loco y no haya dos. Right? Let there be one crazy one and not two. Excuse me. So, if you tend to be like, hey, you know what? I'm walking away from this. I don't got time for this. That's the best thing you can do. That's the best thing you can do. You know? But then, of course, you have to listen to the other person, and not just disregard them of what they're trying to say or what they're saying, because they're saying something to defend themselves. And perhaps you say, well, I've heard this story before, and I just, you know, whatever. Well, you know what? Maybe if the story doesn't change, maybe that's what it is, and you're just not accepting it. And maybe you need to step back yourself and realize, hey, check it out. Maybe I'm the one that's not listening here. Because maybe that person is right. You know, we could all tend to agree and disagree. I've got a lot of friends that way. We do it all the time. Political views, we do it with, with movies, with music, with whatever. You know, we could agree to disagree and still be cool. But now it's a whole different ballgame. You know, stop that, guys. Stop that. Let things roll. Let them roll. They want to say things. I even saw another channel, a big channel, was accused of keeping the money from a GoFundMe, to where the guy had to come out and explain himself. And I saw it the other day and I was like, really? It's gotten this bad. See, a lot of you don't know what happens behind the scenes of things. Even me, and my channel being as small as it is, and you see me sitting in my vehicle all the time, the same thing, whatever, however you want to put it, right? There's certain things that happen behind the scenes that sometimes is not cool. But we make it happen. We just continue to roll. But it's easy when things don't go your way to blame somebody for something, right? Or want to twist somebody's words around and take a clip from something and make it a reaction video and make it to be this big old thing that it's not even what the whole narration of that podcast was, or of that story. And that's the unfortunate part. In closing, I would like to say that I wish everybody love and respect, peace, and shout out to excuse me. Shout out to Chicano Tube. Shout out to Mrs. Chicano Tube. Shout out to Jen Magana. Shout out to Cholo Trucker. Shout out to Dankin and Drankin, who just last week I got to chill out with them in their boxing event that they had. Afterwards, we all sat together. A lot of us sat together, and there was YouTubers and content creators, I want to say, excuse me, from everywhere throughout California, and we sat together, and it was a great thing. It's a great thing, and to me, being in the area that we live in, between Los Angeles and San Francisco, and we're here, like I've said in the beginning of every podcast, we're right here, right smack in the middle, the best of both worlds. We could all come together. It doesn't have to be any hostility towards anybody. And if you disagree with somebody, excuse me, then you disagree with them. You don't go and make a video like a little kid about it. You call them up. And you clear that air. Of course, we also got to understand, too, that there's some people that are just not mature enough to accept that part. So, with that, guys, you guys got to put that aside and keep moving forward. I wish you all the best. With that, this is Two Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, signing out.